Hello. So last night I left this broken and I thought I was doing something. Afterward I looked over it quite a lot, trying to see if I was if somehow the image data could get out of sync or it could disappear under me. And I I dug and dug and dug. I was prepared to do something to write to data, which would have required encoding the image, so it would have been a bitmap, and one day it would be a ping or JPEG, but I think for now it could only be a bitmap. And I would have to read back out of that, and I was worried about this. Then I noticed that my callbacks, I did not have this part that was initializing them to 0. So it was just starting out uninitialized, and I was filling in a few of these texture callbacks, but not all of them. So there were a couple that I was not filling in, such as on release bitmap and on get field. So they were junk. And if they're junk, they're not null, unless you really get lucky or unlucky, as the case may be. So they were getting called. And suffice it to say, the results were not what we wanted. But once I address that, everything is going exactly according to plan. So this is, as you see here, that there's no writing to file anymore or loading from file. Instead, we're just making the view. You don't even have to do this the first time to invalidate it, but and then we are attaching it to the image, and there we have it. So what I'd like to do, well, I can put some amount of dynamism on this by just say put a timer every 50 milliseconds. We'll put it we'll invalidate. Well, we don't want to do exactly this, but so we'll make the image well, the invalidate we don't even need to do, but just to show that it's, and we'll do 0 to infinitely loop. So we'll put the image at the center plus, I don't know, 50 times at that sign, times time, and 5 by 200. Those are milliseconds, so that's, we'll see how that goes. Right. Or example 1. So that's a fairly simple case. So that's showing that it's attached to the image, because that's just moving the image back and forth. And I mean, that is something, but it's not, that's expressing the power of the engine itself, but it's not showing what Lent2D could look like in motion. So I would like to see that instead. So what I'm going to, I think I'm still going to use a timer, but rather than and I'll get this all up front. So we'll make our image, and oh, and I looked a little into this, and that's a little, I suppose that's a little confusing, but we don't, yeah, we don't even need to give this a name now, because it's only the invalidate that's going to matter. So I'm see how do I want to do this. I think I want if save, then we're gonna have a func or a func is fine, or call example, I guess. So we have save function call example will be body, and then that's we'll just straight up call body, and that will be this normal path that we followed before, where it actually emitted to and we had this codec thing. Right. That was our usual, our original path before this thing I did last time. Otherwise, it's going to be what we're doing now, where we throw it into a timer. Delay of 50. And we'll, what do we do? In 0, so, and then invalidate. So view invalidate. And in that case, we will only, this will only matter here, so we'll only capture it in that circumstance. So, see if this, if we put save, it's true. That should just display a still image, or not. 240. No, because we had that. Oh, right, and then we'll wrap this all up. So we'll call this whole thing we'll call this whole thing event. Event is just for the timer, so that we can get that time from it. So we'll wrap that whole thing, and I haven't even been showing this. Okay, so we have everything wrapped up, all of our previous examples in a big function. And if we choose to save, we'll go the original route we were doing up until the last time at the very end. Or we were saving to a file, loading it back in. Versus if we aren't saving, we'll create that context and update it, invalidate at every frame, or every time we call the timer. Which should actually be, I have this, I guess the body should be being called. I should just call it the time. And we'll invalidate after that. So this will be time. Now let's see if what this will do is save. Okay, so there's save and load. And we don't want that to be true. So this will be updating regularly. And so for that reason, we don't want to be getting this codec constantly. What else might we want to do? I was thinking, we've got this path. I don't know if this stacks up. I think when we do that end, it won't. But the path, I was looking through it, and it has something called clear. So I'm going to, I don't know how I do this. Maybe I'll I'm gonna think of a way that'll I want to have something called state. So I'll call that here. Because we're not tearing objects down. So well, we could. That might be a good thing to test with first. I'll see if this, yeah. So is it okay to destroy this right after I fill? Let's be okay. Well then, I'll begin that way, and I don't need that state. I'll put it there anyway. And so I want this to take the state, and we'll populate it here. Oh, and I didn't switch views, but it drew the thing we usually see. So now I want to switch some of these a little bit. So I think I'm going to do, let's try changing the Y starting position by sine of state of time over 200, and let's randomly switch one of these x's 100 and math sine over 500. Let's see if this does anything. No, disappear. Oh, that crashed it. Okay, I amend what I said before. Right, so I don't know quite how to use all of these. Oops. So in that case, I am going to use state.path equals state.path or, and then I'll just do that. I don't know if I'll go through all eight of these doing updates because some of them aren't all that interesting. It'll just be rotating or something like that. Okay, so we don't want destroy. I think we want clear. Actually, I could do this. Local path gives state path or at, and register it here at the end. And this should only make sense if not codec, then codec. I think that'll stay in place. No, oops. So there's a function for paths. So we'll want to go into add path. I believe it's called clear. I was skimming over this earlier while trying to puzzle out the mystery crash. I need to figure out what that brace alignment is. It's driving me nuts. So git path or dl path reset. And it takes a path. Let's try that. No. I thought there was a clear as well. dl path. There is a clear. What is that doing then? Oh. Path clear clears the content of the path. That seems to be what I want. I don't know why. Reset is just taking the guts out of it. I think that's it must be uninitializing. Versus This, so it's not mutable. Then it will reset. But if it is, okay. So I was looking at this mutable stuff. I think that's so you can make your own copy of something. So I think, I guess clear would be the safer one because you're not potentially wiping out a clone. You only want. Yeah, you're only wiping out the size normally, and so yeah, I think that so you want to reset the size. So I believe that's where we want. That's what we want. I'm going to have to get on the Gitter for Blend2D and start asking some of these questions. It's a little hard to suss out the meaning of some of them. Just digging around. All right. Well, let's see what this. Nothing. Okay. I might have to do the same thing for the image, I guess. Or did I oh. So I think this is a case where we want to we're attaching this once, but I think it gets detached, the image, after our first use. So I believe we want a way to assign the image each time. So let's go back into context. And that would mean, I think we didn't we make allowances for this already for, no. Okay. So here, let's only potentially have an image. And I think we might have even been going that way at first. So we didn't have, did we have isImage? I don't think we did that. So let's add that. Right. isImage. And we had this path. So we'll want essentially to just copy this and add it to add image. Copy as image. Hit core and use image name. Right. So now, if we detect that this is an image, and then we will initialize it thus. Otherwise, I think we can just, right. So we'll just do the context straight up. And so then we can go back and simply initialize the context that way. Then in the body itself, we'll attach it. So TTX and then, I don't know, this set image or something like that. Oh, context begin. That looks right. That's what that one did. So call this begin then. I don't think we need any of the options yet. Although I'll add those. One of them I think is one we want because it's the multi-thread rendering. So let's begin. Get context. Get image. And no. And then 0, 1, so begin. I hope that I think that'll clear it. Or I think this will actually clear it. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just stack up. Moment of truth. Yeah, it stacks up. Okay, but that was something. So this is either going to be oh, and I'm not clearing my paths either. Oh. Sorry, I had forgotten this step as well. Let's see if that changes anything. Oh, okay. So that's what we wanted. That looks pretty nice. It's doing a little twist in the corner. But I hope this is what we want. So gradients and stuff. I'm going to guess that copy this. So example 2 was the gradient rounded rect. Maybe in this case we can change this stop in the middle. I don't know a great way to, it's gonna be hard to get the colors, but maybe we can make it more pronounced. So rather than this stop being right in the middle of the gradient, we could oscillate it between a few values. So t, it's a sine of whatever we were doing here, state time over 300, say. That'll be between -1 and 1. So we want to multiply. We multiply by 2 and subtract 1. That'll put it between 0 and 1 because 2 times 0 is. I misspoke. That's how we reverse that. So 0.5 plus 0.5. So that's, if it's a -1, it'll be -0.5 plus 0.5, which will land on 0. If it's +1, it'll be 0.5 plus 0.5 and it'll land on 1. And what do we want it? So that would be to scale it between 0 and 1. But we could, if we could put it between 0.25 and 0.75, that's what I'm thinking. So in that case, we would want to, on the, we got -1. So if we multiply that by 0.25, we'll have -0.25 on one side or 0.25 on the other. And then we add to 0.5. So that'll put it at 0.25 to 0.75. So we'll call that t and then put it here. So I don't know if we have any, do we have gradient things? Because those are going to be building up in memory. We should reset it. Let's try a reset. So I'm looking over gradient stuff. So but destroy didn't seem like what we wanted because of, it would still be part of, I think it would still be lodged in the context. So let's put this out and add something to gradients. So let's add reset. I didn't see what some of these other things are. Reset and reset stops. I don't know if that would, maybe that would be better. try that. Reset stops. I never know if I've done some of these spaces quicker. Move stops might also be what we want. That's to remove a range, it looks like. Although oh wow. So you can I think you can remove range by indices or by what do you call it? By the times, the deltas or the offsets. You can replace a given stop. And these are pretty cool. Yeah, reset stops. That I don't see how that could not be appropriate. So then we'll so like before, wow, what are we doing now? Oh. So like before, that'll be state dot gradient, state dot linear, or and well, we can maybe that's remember what that means. The y1 equals 480, because that's just well, maybe I do. I mean, I thought it was specified here, but what do you? Oh. What if that changes a bit? Will that break or wobble or what? Okay, well, and we'll install state.linear equals linear at the end so that we can reuse it. And then here we'll reset stops. Let's see if this, yeah, there it's going, the offset's going up and down. So it's stretching in and out. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. It's the height. So that'd be kind of cool too. If we adjusted this as well. Oh, sorry, I'm changing the width as well. I suppose we could. I don't know if this might not look good at all. Changing the corners. So I'll just throw a random value in there and see if it. one parenthesis short. Cheat to do that. Not too bad. I'm changing the rounding on the corners, but ever so slightly. I don't know if it'll. I can see if it really breaks if I put it up higher. And that can break solar a little bit. And what if I ramp up the time? Is it? That's too jarring, but that's pretty nice. Huh. Maybe this must have been the direction then. I guess. I really like that. The next one is a pattern. That doesn't really do anything much different, does it? I guess we can just for completeness, we can have it stretching in one direction. Maybe moving as well. So in this case, we will try looking it up first. If not texture, then texture gets blend to the image new. The pattern as well. I wonder if this will stay. Maybe I could just grab the pattern. So if no pattern, then we'll make it as well as the texture. So we'll assign the pattern at the end. Yeah. And so that's assuming that it all hangs together and doesn't get invalidated or anything. Let's move this a little bit. And so that's the X, and then we'll change the Y a little bit as well. So it's not event, it's a state. Yeah, there we go. That's a little window. Well, in that case, we can just follow the same lead. in. Just realized I didn't have the chat window open. It's probably the one time I'll have it. Active discussion going on and not be aware of it. So this will be much the same, except we'll hoist this out here because we're reusing it. And I think in this one we'll just want to rotate it by let's see what this looks like. if not pattern, then so that's what we have. And so this, assuming this is a double, we can just pretty much let it increment forever. So that time, and this will really probably want to really slow it down though. So say we do that. That's pretty good. And maybe we'll see if we can shift the point, the rotation point, and if it won't look too off if we do that. So it's at 300. This should, yeah, it's a slow spiral. So it's occasionally going to the edge of the image, but that's maybe I should put a boundary around the image. Yeah, I could do that. We'll go back up to this. I'll get the result, I guess. And okay. Rectangles. And I'll put a stroke. I'll set the fill color to transparent and stroke to, I don't know, some light green, or darker green, I guess. Stroke width 3. Yeah. Then we can see that that's supposed to be clipping as it is. Example 5 is another gradient. That's type 9. did this one do? Oh yeah, I think I know what this. I might actually, in this case, I think I'll. Oh yeah, I'll keep gradients as is, and will that affect it at all? I'll just show the motion on this, on these. Yeah. So not radial, then. This probably won't be nearly as impressive, but I really just want to show something happening. No, yeah, I call that radial and then linear. Not linear, then linear gets. And we'll fill these in. So we know, actually, this should this should be fine, because I think the point of this is to show the interaction between them. So I'll just, I think this is the radius, so I'll really vary it. There's no particular reason I'm always using sine. It's just one of it works. So I'll have that really pulsing. And this case, I'll have the width. Oh, now I'll just move this one back and forth. And I think example 5. Keep doing that. I'm so used to it being even, and I should maybe just turn it back to event. That's pretty cool. Maybe it should pulse a little less quickly though. It's another 120. Yeah, there we go. I think that's a good demonstration. Okay, so for 6 is that curvy thing. I think again we'll want we could be varying where the cube is going. the path, not the cube. That's actually a good idea. I think again, I'll just stick with the gradient once I built it. And assign it at the end. And ditto the path. But, of course, we'll clear it. And let's try varying this stroke width. So 15 plus 2 times sign event sign over 400. And let's round that. And we want, I don't know what we really want here. I just see, I mean, this could be well crafted, but it's not at the rate I'm doing it. I'm doing event again. I see that Zero Green is complaining. Yeah. Here. I don't know if something I'm doing that's violating the continuity. It's quite a pinch. Looks okay to me though. Okay, I'll make this more pronounced, the width varying. So what we do that for, and we do it more or less. Less. You can see it really get thin there, and then thick. Oh, okay. Let's make that even more pronounced then. 8, and let's turn it down. There we go. That's demonstrating it quite well, I think. Sorry, I have a bug. I have a literal bug flying around. Oh, fonts. This one was just rotated text, so I suppose the way to go would be, and we can move the, I don't think we want to be rebuilding all of these things, but we'll grab the face, if not the face, then face, and It's in font, I guess. And because we want that to be within this scope. State base, state font, space, and font. Are we in example 7? No, we're not. Okay, and let's just rotate away. So state time over, I don't know, 500 or 200, I guess. That might be enough. Okay. Oh, right. Okay, we want that going slower then. We could actually, we might want to ping pong this even. So let's do 0.3 radians. So, and make that go slower. There we go. Well, this has been going really well. So I guess this did turn out to be more Lua-ish, as I mentioned. I would probably be doing next, but I think the next thing I will probably do is go on to, I might pick up that mesh, procedural geometry thing I was doing in the very beginning, where I was trying to make a texture that way. I'll have to look it over to remind myself what everything does, but otherwise I could go back into shaders or back into geometry. So if I don't do something like that, I might dive into an open source kind of thing, which could be at for a while without even seeing results. I don't know if that would be good or not. Okay, so this is again going to have the face font thing. So we'll at least grab those. Then there's this, and the glyph buffer too. Yeah. So okay, so I think I do. I probably what I'm thinking is that I don't need to recalculate all of this over and over. It's probably harmless though. It's not going to be a big loss if I lose that stuff, because they're just tables, and I think the garbage collector will easily keep up with this. But it's kind of pointless redoing all of this, but whatever. I don't think I'm making that little user data too, but again, it's not holding any real resources worth caring about. So these were just could we I do wonder though, maybe we could we change this every time? It's got to be redoing that internally anyway. Let's try that. So it's creating, that would be creating a font face with the creating the font from the face with a varying size. Let's see if that isn't too terrible. And that might be enough. I don't know if we need to be moving things around and everything, because they were sort of meant to be centered. I gather from the the end minus the center of the bounding box of the text, so it's shifting it back by that much. Right. Huh. Yeah. Maybe we can do that even more. Let's vary it by 10. Oh, that looks really nice. No, that's actually everything I want to do, because that's examples 1 through 8, which is like, this is more than I expected to get to in is it even an hour? Maybe a little more than an hour. Yeah, so I think for the time being, I'll call the Blend2D series here, and hope to pick up on some Lua-ish things next time. Lua math or graphics, or yeah. So shaders or effects of some sort, or explaining vectors and trig, and or just building that mesh, and to leave off C++ for a little bit. I will continue to work on this on my own and try to bring it up to parity on both Mac and Windows. Yeah, so I hope anyone who watches this enjoyed, and I will leave it there. See you later.